on with you all? Thank you for tapping in with me again today. And if you're new to the channel, my name is Cleveland. So welcome to the Fish Corner, everybody. This is the Fish Corner. My name is Cleveland. Before we get started, do a few things for me. Hit the subscribe button, that notification bell next to it, and that like button, y'all. Now let's get into this video. So today I want to talk to you all about this hobby. Man, this is such an amazing hobby. For me, it's a bit more of a lifestyle. It's not a hobby anymore. This is a way of life for me. I know a bunch of y'all can relate. Probably had aquarium since you were little, all the way up until adulthood, all the way up into the later years, wherever you may be. But this is a lifestyle. It's almost like exercising, right? To some it might be a hobby. To others it could be a lifestyle. For me, it's a lifestyle. It's a way of life. Now, that being said, being in a hobby for life, it tends to hit a little different, right? Hit the pockets a little different. So a lot of people that are in the hobby stage of this, they could either stay in it or they could get out of it. You know, obviously if it's a lifestyle, you're not going to get in and out, right? But I want to talk to you all about expenses. How do you go from it being just one aquarium, very inexpensive, to something like a fish room and it being much more expensive? Now, you got to look at a few things. A few factors will determine whether or not it is an expensive hobby for you or if it's something that's manageable, right? I want everyone to be on a manageable side. I don't want anybody jumping in a hobby, getting out the hobby. I want this to be a lifestyle for others like myself. So that being said, let's talk about it. So one of the things that you could think about before you even buy a single aquarium is you think about the size of the aquarium that you want to potentially stop at, right? You don't want to exceed that size of an aquarium. You consider what kind of fish you want to keep, right? Saltwater, freshwater, larger fish, smaller fish. All of these are factors on whether or not it's going to be more expensive or less expensive, right? The bigger the fish, the bigger the aquarium, the bigger the everything, filtration, the food, all of that. It tends to go up in the amount that you're going to spend on a weekly, monthly, bi-monthly basis. If you want to have salt water, there's a lot of factors that come along with that. You're going to have sumps. You're going to have specific diet for these fish. You're going to have refugiums. You're going to have a large aquarium, smaller aquarium. You're going to have dosing if you're talking about corals. All of that changes the amount that you're going to spend on a monthly and weekly basis with that aquarium. So I would just highly suggest for any newcomer or anybody that is considering getting out the hobby because it's getting too expensive, reevaluate, dial back. Maybe you don't have to keep the fish that you've been thinking that you wanted to keep. I found the most pleasure with my 75-gallon aquarium that's in the house. Now that might come as a shock to some of you, especially the OGs that know that I started this hobby with these large aggressive cichlids. I got back in the hobby because of these large aggressive cichlids, such as the dovii. That was a fish that brought me back to the hobby. And since then, it's been about 12 years. So since then, I have learned about so many other fish. I have gotten into the saltwater side of the hobby. And that's why I said it's a lifestyle. I will always have an aquarium. And I plan on passing this along to Carter. That is my son. He's 4 years old. I plan on passing this along to my other kids. I think this hobby I believe this hobby is something that we all can share with our families. I started off that way. My mom taught me, my grandma taught her, and here I am teaching my kids and teaching the world through YouTube. So, that being said, I want to show you all some of these aquariums that is on the easier pocket side. And then we could take a look at some of these aquariums that's on the, when the hobby getting a little serious, y'all. So let's take a look around this fish room. This is my large fish room. I converted it to a fish room from a garage. Now that is definitely a little crazy, right? Sounds a little crazy. But to some of us, it's basically our peace of mind, our man cave. It's our therapeutic area. It's our space where we decompress. It has a lot of different names and it does a lot of different things. But I don't want this to be a space where you just see money going out. I don't want that. So let's take a look around. Let's talk about what we have going on, and then hopefully you can all take something from this video to help you. And maybe if you have somebody that's on the fence of getting out of the hobby, you can use this video as a reference to keep them in this hobby. We want to expand this hobby as much as possible, so that's the point of this video. So let's take a look around. So right here is the first tank that we're going to take a look at. We have a 55-gallon tank right here. Now this is a bit of a intermediate aquarium. It's not quite small, but it's also not quite big. If this is the biggest aquarium that you will ever want to own, I would suggest either have a water pet, which is one fish per aquarium type of animal or type of fish, or you can have a community of a bunch of small 3 to 2 inch schooling fish. Now this would be amazing for some tetras, some rummy nose tetras, some neon tetras, some golden barbs. What else could go in here? You could have this as a beautiful betta community tank. There's a lot of different options, and you can scape it just like the background. Now the background is just a piece of the background that you put on back of aquariums, but it does make it look a little bit more beautiful, right? A lot of air flowing through here. It's being ran off a couple sponge filters. Just got a light up top. It's very simple. And as far as inhabitant in here, we have a single red Texas. This is a super red Texas right here. And then we have our tire track eel right there that will come out eventually because they do get quite large. But that guy is happier in this aquarium right here with this red Texas. Now in this aquarium we have down below, we have a red doveye. We also have in here a red tiger modogwens female. We have my Zebrina pike right here. We have a golden giant gourami. Back there we have a jaguar cichlid. And then we have another red doveye that just swam behind a rock. And, you know, the scape is moderately set up, a lot of swim space. Oh yeah, and there goes our Madagascar starry night cichlid, the one with the spots. So this aquarium right here is on the advanced level, I would say. Not a lot of people will want a 240-gallon aquarium. This thing is heavy, it's large, and you need to have space for it. But for someone that takes this hobby as serious as me, this is still on the smaller side. Now, let's take a look at another one. All right, over here we have a 225-gallon freshwater aquarium full of African cichlids. Now, for this aquarium, this will not really suffice long-term for all of these fish. They do get large, and I do want to make sure that my fish are not just surviving, I want them to be thriving. I love that saying because it's very much a difference. Now, I can't really go in the front. Oh, there we go. I guess I can. The glare may be a little bad, but in this tank, we have some beautiful frontosa. We have the regular frontosa right here. And then we have some of these black widows. We have in here a beautiful eye biter African cichlid. Back there, we have the barracuda that just took off. And we have a bunch of, and then we got a comperceps right there. And then we have a bunch of these OB peacocks. We have the veniscus right there. So we have a bunch of different fish. We got some loaches in here as well. And so far, like I said, this is a 225-gallon aquarium, 6 foot long, 30 inches wide, and 2 foot tall. The filtration is obviously going to be much stronger on this aquarium, and you see the rock work. Luckily, I picked up this rock work, and then we got a lace catfish, little Synodontis. But luckily, I picked up all of this rock work from one of my creeks, waterways, and such. So you can always save money by harvesting your own rock. They would charge an arm and a leg for that somewhere. So let's take a look at another. All right, y'all. So this is a 225-gallon saltwater aquarium. And again, that's when things get a bit more serious. We have in here a stingray that's not going to come easy on the pockets. We have a tessellata eel that, again, isn't going to come easy on the pockets. Same thing with the lionfish. Same thing with the panther grouper. And that's just the aquarium. This filtration right here, as small as it looks, was $1,000. And let me show you what this is going to turn into. You see this right here? This is a 12-foot long, 4-foot by 4-foot plywood aquarium that's under construction. And the fish that's going to go in here are these fish. So that's my point. When you start wanting larger fish, you're going to have a large aquarium. And I still haven't come up with a calculation on how much this thing is going to cost in total. So keep that in mind. All right, let's go into the pond. Now this right here was easy on the pockets only because it's a kiddie pool. This is an 800-gallon kiddie pool pond that I set up and scaped like an aquarium. And I built a facade around it so I can keep arowanas in here. Now Kobe right here, he's actually recovering, y'all. So OGs, y'all see he's recovering. That's what the darker marks are. It was really light because he did get picked on by a couple larger fish that had to be removed. But Kobe is making a comeback, and he's the reason why I made the sides so tall. So he can't jump out. That's amazing because a lot of times you have to put a net over your pond to keep these guys in. But again, this is only 800 gallons, and I will be building a 3,000-gallon right here in its place. Yes, you heard me correctly. I said 3,000 gallons. So that just gives you an idea of the scale when we go from, something like this, because we're keeping larger fish, to what we have to scale up to, like I said, make sure our fish thrive instead of just survive. So, again, that's when we're talking about larger fish. Now, I do want to show y'all some of the smaller fish and some of these peaceful, beautiful aquariums that I do like to keep. And that might be something that you might want to consider instead of keeping large fish that you're just going to keep on having to build bigger spaces for or purchasing bigger spaces for. So let's go take a look. All right, y'all. So take a look at this 75-gallon. Now, although this aquarium is on the intermediate level of fish keeping, look at the options that you can have with this aquarium. Absolutely stunning, beautiful, colorful fish. Schooling fish. You're able to buy schools of fish that's maybe 6 fish of the same type or more. So schooling means that they'll stick together and they're swimming around in unison. And I have felt a lot of joy from watching these fish school around. There's nothing like grabbing a coffee, grabbing my chair, sitting in front of this aquarium, and watching these fish school around. Like I said, it brings us so much joy to look over and see these little fish not only not attacking each other, but just swimming around in harmony and just doing what they would potentially do in their natural environment. You could scape it totally different. You see all these plants that's growing in here. You see the rock work. Now, I will do something about that little spot right there. That's from the filter. But even when it comes down to maintaining this aquarium, it's so effortless, so easy. Takes about 15 minutes. Drain the water, clean the algae off the glass, clean that filter right there. Yes, it's being ran by just one Fluval 110 hang on the back filter, and just refill it. Do about a 20%, 15 to 20% water change, and just refill it. And in this aquarium, we have a bunch of different tetras, a bunch of different barbs. We have some albino Chinese algae eaters in here. We have a couple of snails. There's one of them right there. We have 2 dwarf frogs in here. We have about 6 cory cats in here. In all of those fish, the way we have it set up, there's the other guy right there. They literally keep this sand looking just like this. Now, I haven't cleaned the sand at all. There's no gravel vac, no sand vacuuming that I got to do. They do all the work for me. Like I said, this is my most prized aquarium out of all the ones I have. And I have some prized fish in there But just overall, the impact, the way that I feel whenever I look at this aquarium right here is by far the best out of everything that I have out of both fish rooms. Speaking of both fish rooms, let's take a look at the other fish room. All right, we're in the construction zone again. So down below, we have, this is I would feel as beginner right here, y'all. This is what I would call the beginner aquarium. We have a 20-gallon long Betta community tank. There's our Betta right there, DJ Mustard. Maybe he'll come out for a little hello. We have the rummy nose tetras in here. We have the T-bone tetras in here. We have a couple of those Chinese algae eaters. We have a bunch of snails, and I mean, this thing is so natural. We have the pothos growing under the water. Look at the roots. It's like a little forest over there for these fish. And you could get a nice pothos plant for probably about $8 to $10. And you could just shove it, rinse off the dirt really good, and you could just shove it in your aquarium. Get you a nice grow light or put it by a window, and it's going to really just thrive. I mean, look at this. Absolutely amazing. In this aquarium right here, it is so easy to clean, y'all. I do it, like I said, about a 10, 20% water change on it. There you go, Mustard. Hello, bud. Do a 10, 20% water change on this aquarium and clean, just squeeze the sponge filters in some tank water. Fill it back up and I'm done. Fill it back up and I'm done. This thing is so easy, y'all. So easy. So if you're thinking about getting out the hobby, just think about getting something so effortless like this. Don't leave the hobby. Just get you something that's easy to maintain, easier on the pockets. I haven't had to replace any of these fish. I've had these guys together for over a year, and they're just doing amazing together. There's barely any algae growing on the glass because the pothos are just growing like crazy. I mean, this potho plant go all the way to this aquarium right here, and over here we have the cardinal tetras right here, cardinal neons. Beautiful, right? Absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. Up top, we have the 40-gallon. You can have a little bit more of the community fish in here. These are golden barbs. We have some white cloud minnows in here. We have neon green cory cats in here, some albino cory cats in here. So easy. And if you want something that's extremely hands-off, let me show you this aquarium. This is another aquarium, just hands-off. I wanted to see how long I could go without bothering anything. So we got algae growing everywhere. We have the snails that reproduce in here that's been eating all of the algae. We got all of these fish that's just breeding. I mean, look at all the babies. Now, yes, this might not look like something that a bunch of y'all want to keep, but this is the only aquarium that look like this. And is doing absolutely amazing. So keep all of that in mind. Don't leave the hobby. Stick around. There's always a method, always a way that you can stay in this beautiful hobby, and it could be a lifestyle for you as well. It could be a talking point. It could be a showpiece when you bring friends over, family over. So just think about that. Just think about that. All right, y'all. So I hope that I provided you all with enough information, enough momentum to either talk someone out of getting out the hobby the right way, to talk you out of not getting out the hobby the right way, or just provided you all with a little bit of more of an understanding to this hobby and the levels to it. Now, everyone's not going to be at the level I'm at, but you're missing out if you're not. I'm just messing around. But anyway, I hope that you all enjoyed this video. I really hope that you did. I hope that you learned something from this video. I hope that you were inspired in some way by something that you heard in this video. If you did, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and everybody, if you like this video, do something for me. Like the damn video. Peace!